Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, back again with the Sarah Jane Adventures. Last time on the Sarah Jane Adventures, we had Whatever Happened to Sarah Jane. An interesting episode where Sarah Jane was basically taken out of the timeline, where it was changed to where back when she was a kid, instead of her best friend dying, instead she died and the best friend lived, which was very interesting. And basically it was all because of this monster that you guys have informed me is called the Trickster. And basically he thrives on chaos, and there would be so much chaos caused by the death of Sarah Jane. So yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. It was a really great episode, probably my favorite so far. But this time around we're going to be moving on to the Series 1 finale. Holy crap. Feels like we just started this, which kind of we have, because I'm doing these 2 episodes at a time, technically. So, yeah, we did kind of just start this a few weeks ago, but yeah, it's cool. Just to inform you guys, Sarah Jane is going to be taking a 3-week break. Yeah, just bear with me on these schedules. Sarah Jane is taking a 3-week break. Next week, there just won't be a Sarah Jane on Sunday. Instead, you'll get the finale to Hellsing Ultimate Abridged, which is cool. And so you're not going to have anything next week, but instead, we're going to have the last 2 episodes of Doctor Who Series 4, 4X12 and 4X13. And then after that, I'm going to be watching Torchwood Series 3. I'm going to do the first 3 episodes of Series 3 in the week after the Doctor Who finale, and then the last 2 episodes the next week after that, and then, stay with me, then after that, Sarah Jane will return, and we will actually be doing 2 episodes per week, and not, the 2-parters, like 2 2-parters per week. Won't that be great? So, yeah, you'll get double the Sarah Jane every week as we just power through Series 2 and Series 3. So, yeah, with that being said, this is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. Let's stick to this episode and previous episodes of the Sarah Jane Adventures, Torchwood, Doctor Who, and Doctor Who Classic that I've reacted to. And yeah, with that all being said, let's get right into this episode of the Sarah Jane Adventures. Here we go.
You're not going to tell Mum, are you?
Like she'd believe me.
Yeah.
Believe me if I hadn't been bumping between alternate realities and seen us almost flattened by a meteor. No, I'm
Yeah.
going to tell your mother. Tomorrow morning.
Good, let's leave the mother away from everything.
You can't.
This isn't kids stuff, Maria. It's dangerous. We're going to have to.
Oh. Come on, Alan.
Dad says we're moving.
What?
He says I can't have anything to do with you anymore. We're part of something so much bigger than living here on Banman Road.
I don't know if this is going to work,
so
though.
much more than most people will ever know. And I've been really lucky, Dad. I've seen that, and I can't give it up.
This is too much to take in.
It's hard
It's
for
the
a companion to
Once it's chosen
leave,
to show you some of its secrets, you can't ever turn your back on it.
said Martha.
None of us.
Please contact the police. Please.
Isn't that Luke?
Any information regarding their missing son, Ashley. The teenager disappeared without trace. And in spite of an extensive search, no links have ever been found.
It's you.
The police are stepping up their campaign.
Whoever's got him.
There's only one way to be certain. I need to scan Luke.
No! The Bane made me.
Well, try it anyway.
Anyone or anything.
I have a comprehensive genetic match.
They are the
Luke
same.
and Ashley Stafford are the same person.
Let's let the police make up their minds about that, shall we?
The police?
Mum, you never called the police. I've told you time and time again there's something wrong with that woman. I can smell it on her.
Okay,
No!
go fuck
Told you,
yourself.
she's a weirdo, you'll see.
You're a bitch. Jesus Christ.
So it's right then, it is Luke.
Oh, hey, Clyde.
Wake up,
Where have you
Clyde,
been?
How can it...
Suppose I used to like peppers as well, did I? I'm tired. I'd like to go to my room now, please.
Even if he lost his memory, he wouldn't... Like, nothing would change about what he actually likes. It's just that he wouldn't remember it. So...
Sorry,
Psylocke, are you there?
Okay.
We've got the boy.
Okay. Now I get it. Freaking Psylocke. Who the hell is Psylocke?
Sarah Jane.
And you and Clyde should forget all about me and everything you've seen.
What? How are we going to do that? What happened?
Sarah,
to
you
never
may
turning
be
your back on the
overreacting.
universe?
Sometimes you have to. Sometimes it's the only way to survive.
Sarah. You may be overreacting to this.
I want to see my friends.
Maria and Clyde.
How do you know their names? I never mentioned them.
That doesn't matter.
Yo, the point is to act natural. Did you only rehearse the missing child part of this? Whoa.
We're not done yet, Miss Smith.
Well, that's cool, but that looked like a seizure.
Unfortunately, we have.
Hello, Nathan. I'm pleased to meet you.
I'm working.
Oh, sorry to disturb you. Looks very
If
complex.
he is a
Don't
child.
waste your time or mine asking me to explain.
Okay.
Smith's a journalist.
I used to know someone your age who could wipe the floor with your intelligence, Nathan.
Ooh.
And wipe the floor with you, too.
Ooh. Just put him down.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, what you gonna do about that? Little bitch kid.
You've seen him on a skateboard, no sense of balance at all.
But after what the Bane did to him,
I don't care what anyone did to him. You don't lose something like that, it's instinct.
Yeah.
These new slimline flesh suits, they might handle the gas exchanges better, but they're a bit on the snug side.
I'm sorry, what? No! No, come on! Are you freaking kidding me? Man, they got me because they're not fat!
How you killed my family and left me locked in a sealed room to die.
The little one. Ah, it's the little one, but he's more obnoxious.
I faked it.
You?
You?
Am I missing something?
More than you could ever imagine, Clyde.
What's going on?
I am a Psylocke. I have a purpose. And you, Clyde, are a part of it.
Mr. Smith! Oh, that's it, too. Jeez. Mr. Smith. God, it's like Walter on friggin' Helsing. It's the same thing. Holy crap. Sorry, I hope that didn't spoil Helsing for you. Go watch Helsing. It's amazing. But oh my gosh, I have to get to part 2 right now. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Alright.
Any attempt to escape may result in death. You have been warned.
Noted.
Oh! Oh god, motorcycles! Or use the thing, just blow it up or something. Oh my gosh, it worked!
That didn't sting too much.
Ooh.
Clyde.
Who they are and what they've done with Luke.
They skinned someone. They're cannibals.
Slitheen.
They're not cannibals. They're Slitheen.
Alright, glad we figured that out really quickly.
Where are you taking?
Maria, I told you, I don't want you here.
They're not Luke's parents, they're Slitheen.
God, that was like an immediate 1,000-yard stare that she had going. Oh. Impressive that Clyde can do that.
Mr. Smith, what's going on?
I have a purpose. It must be fulfilled.
Bring in Mr. Smith.
The Slitheen have been useful, and so have you. But you are no longer required.
Get down!
Oh! That's a bit different.
But they didn't see what I did. It was as if the crystal was communicating with my laptop. Using it to communicate with me. It was a memory cell from a spacecraft that crashed millions of years ago. Its computing power, its knowledge, it was phenomenal.
So that's
It taught
how...
me amazing things.
You created Mr. Smith,
Help me keep track of
basically.
alien life form coming.
Oh! Now you just gave the smartest kid in the world telekinesis.
Using his own warm and dripping.
Ew. I don't need to hear that. I don't like that it has a butthole. That just ain't right.
What happened here?
With a little luck, Luke did.
I don't think that's how you hold it, Alan. Oh, there's squeeze bottles. Gotcha.
If you kill us, you'll never stop Mr. Smith, and you'll never get off this planet alive.
Yeah.
You need
Come
it when
on.
the screaming starts. Get off! Let me go!
Alliance of
She's
Convenience.
on a kill, of claw for claw!
I think he's planning to destroy the Earth.
Ooh.
Come in, Luke.
Oh god, he has control of doors. Oh no! You've gotta be kidding!
It's not possible.
Luke isn't possible. Mr. Smith isn't possible, but together they're bringing the moon crashing down on Earth.
Wow.
But the moon
It's all Majora's Mask up in
400
here.
miles away.
I need you to destroy Mr. Smith.
Alan?
I get paid by companies to block cyber threats. I understand viruses. I know how they work. But Mr. Smith, he's more than a computer.
Dad!
Oh, okay.
Chance.
Well, then this is
That's
my best
interesting. Using his technical expertise that I didn't realize he had.
Cyber terror.
Any race thinking it's better than another, that's evil, Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
am not evil.
So what have you done with Clyde?
Oh, there he is.
Am I not merciful?
Well, great. You're gonna destroy the Earth anyway.
Purpose matters.
You can change your purpose.
No.
K9. Is she gonna use K9?
All have a purpose.
My dog. Cannot protect me.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, a computer and a mechanical dog are fighting! Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
84. The Metrobelan cosmic cluster is home to 68,000 life forms.
Nope.
67.
You're losing it, buddy.
I'm forgetting it all. Sarah Jane, help me.
Without your
No.
purpose, you have no purpose, Mr. Smith.
Purpose.
Your purpose is to save the Earth, Mr. Smith. That is your new purpose. To
Ooh.
save the Earth.
Save the Earth. Yes. I have a purpose. Thank you, Sarah Jane.
Huh.
The unit is non-functional.
Well, good. Bye, Moon. Moon! Can't believe I haven't said that yet.
Satisfactory, mistress.
There they go.
Back to Raxacorica Fallopatorius.
Yeah,
Good riddance.
Will they be back?
Oh, I expect
probably. Yeah.
so. Sooner or later.
They're a stubborn family.
Mr. Smith.
Yeah, can we ever trust him again?
The Armageddon Code has wiped his circuits. He'll reboot with a new purpose. To safeguard the world.
Okay, so we're keeping him.
Mom!
I never expected to find a family.
And that's it. That's it. Alright, that is Series 1. Holy crap. That was pretty good. That was really good. Overall, real quick, I have really enjoyed this series. It's just nice. It's just nice. Oh god, I would have loved this as a kid. I would have loved Doctor Who as a kid too, but yeah. But this, since this was specifically kind of more kid-oriented, just by the fact that it stars kids, basically, other than, obviously, Sarah Jane herself. Like, yeah, this... I definitely would have loved this as a kid. And from what I've seen in the comments, a lot of you guys have loved this as a kid. When you were all one kid. No, when you guys were kids, which is cool to see. And I know that I know that a lot of you guys really love that I'm doing this series because you get to share this thing you loved in your childhood, which I totally get. It's like when I really That's one of my favorite things about reaction videos is when I see someone watch a show that I loved as a kid. Like, the perfect example for me is I love anytime someone watches Avatar: The Last Airbender, because that's what I grew up on. And it's amazing to see those reactions. So I'm sure it's the same thing with Sarah Jane for those of you that grew up with it. So, yeah, that was really great. And that was like the perfect like finale. Like, that's perfect. That pretty much like is a culmination of everything we've had this series. So yeah, makes me interested. Like, where do we go from here? Like, how do we top these? These are so good. All right, let's go through my notes. The first thing I wrote down was Alan. Nice to see that Alan is pretty useful in this, like, because you could kind of make the assumption that like, even though he does know, he gets brought into the loop about aliens and stuff like that, and Sarah Jane and stuff, you would think that he would just like maybe still stay in the background, like he doesn't really help out and stuff. But I really do like how Alan is almost another companion. Like, it's like we have a fourth companion now. Sarah Jane has a fourth companion in Alan. Like, I like that. I really like how involved he was. And maybe that was just because it was the season finale, but still, that was pretty great. I loved seeing... I love that Alan was this involved. That was really good. Whoopsies. I meant to write down Luke equals Ashley. It was Ashley, right? I'm pretty sure that's what they kept saying. But I accidentally forgot the E in Luke, so I put down Luck. Whoopsies. So, that was interesting. That was an interesting, like, plot line, because I was wondering, like, where we were going with that. Because that did seem, like, crazy, when they first, like, brought that up. It's like, Luke is actually, the son of these, other people. And he just, like, maybe the Bane forgot about it. But I was like, well, that doesn't, like I was thinking about it, I was like, well, that doesn't fully line up, because the Bane said that he was, that they created him from, every single person that entered the Bubble Shock factory. But then I kind of thought, it's like, well, wait, maybe what they actually meant was, well, he was created by saying, like, he was created. It's like, well, they already had a body, and then they just added in all the knowledge of everything and all the different stuff. So it's like, so it was kind of fooling me. I was like, oh yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe that's why. It's like, oh crap, maybe these are actually his parents. So that was good. That was a nice little, like, fake out twist, basically, because it's like, it's a twist, but at the same time, it's not actually true. So yeah. And then the real, like, first shocking twist, like, this actually got me, because I did not see this coming at all, was that this family was Slitheen. I didn't even see that coming, especially because they were thin, and the whole point is that the Slitheen take on, larger people, and so it's like, so that completely caught me off guard, and that's the thing, is, like, earlier they mentioned the Slitheen, like, they talked about how they fought the Slitheen. Like, I think they were mentioning it to Alan. So, like, they mentioned that, and I was like, oh yeah, like, because they said, like, well, most of the family got away. Most of the Slitheen got away, and I was like, oh yeah, they did. So I was like, okay, well, they'll probably come back sometime, either here or on Doctor Who. So I was like, okay, so they'll probably come back sometime. And then when it's like the three of them, it's like when the three of them confront Luke, and then he's just like, and then, like, the dad is just like, well, it's time, I don't remember what he says. It was something like, it's time to really show you what we're up to, or something, whatever he says. And then he just starts, like, he goes for his forehead, and I was like, no, you can't be serious. It's the friggin' Slitheen. But sure enough, so that was a great twist, and that caught me off guard, because that was not what I was expecting at all. And then the fact that the boy, Nathan Goss, the fact that he was the actual Slitheen kid from earlier in the series, like, that was interesting too. Annoying as all get out. And honestly, you know, the whole thing of like, oh, well, you gotta run away from him while he's chasing you. It's like he chases you and he's on the hunt and stuff. It's like, but the way he like wobbles around and stuff like that, and it's like, it doesn't look like he's actually like running. He's just like weirdly flailing around. It's like, and the fact that he's shorter, for some reason, he's always shorter than he is in his human skin, which is really weird. It's like, you have his human, which is like, oh, let's say it's like this high, and then it's like, then he becomes a Slitheen, and he just gets a little smaller, and it's like, what? How does that work? How does he get smaller? I don't get that. So that's the thing, it's like, when he's going after Luke, it's like, Luke, why don't you just drop kick him or something? Just like, just push him over or something. And then, when you have Alan there, Alan, you know, is like, once you threaten Maria, it's like, Alan's ready to, he's probably ready to murder, you know, he wants to save his little girl, which makes sense, he wants to save his daughter. So it's like, Alan, why don't you just, like, kick them? It's like, this thing is so small compared to you. It's, so, yeah. Let's see, I wrote down the Zylok. Interesting, the Zylok, so they were, I assume this is the whole, you know, the thing that killed the dinosaurs, the asteroid that hit the Earth originally. They contained the Zylok. Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on. Ooh, we may have some conflicting things if I'm remembering right. I don't know if I am, though. Okay, you guys may need to help me out in the comments. Doctor Who, Fires of Pompeii. Those guys, I don't remember what they were called, but the aliens from the Fires of Pompeii, did they also get the backstory that they were, well, okay, I guess that's the thing, it's like, I was kind of thinking, like, were they also, like, did they get explained that they, like, you know, were the asteroid that hit the Earth? But at the same time, it's like, well, that probably didn't specify that killed the dinosaurs. And then, you know, you go over to this, they still don't specify that the Zylok killed the dinosaurs. Just that, you know, 64 billion years ago, 64 million years ago, the Zylok did hit the Earth. So yeah, I don't know. I wrote down the telekinesis. That was interesting. Like, it was really clever. Like, I didn't even think about, like, how big, like, the effect of telekinesis could be. And it is interesting that, you know, Mr. Smith pretty much hired the Slitheen to figure out that stuff. So, that was something. And then, it was just interesting because, you know, it's just telekinesis, which I guess it's like the Force, and the Force could be really destructive too. It's just that no one in Star Wars ever uses it like that. But yeah, so there is that it can be really destructive, but I didn't think of how destructive it could be. And it was interesting that it depended on, you know, how good the mind was. You know, because, like, it showed that one guy in the room, he was trying to lift a basketball, it looked like he was having a seizure. So, yeah, really, like, you have to really think about that. It's like, okay, well, it depends on how powerful the mind is. And Luke is one of the most powerful minds ever. Like at least on Earth right now, it's like Luke is one of the smartest people in the world. Like, imagine if you gave this telekinesis thing to, like, the Doctor. The Doctor could probably tear apart galaxies because of how smart he is. And so that's the thing, is like they say, it's like, okay, if you get the right mind, they could be a world killer. Like, ooh, that's crazy. So that's interesting that factored into the plans. And so the next thing I wrote down was Mr. Smith. Twist villain right at the end. And that's a good twist and a good villain. Yeah, that is really interesting. And the fact that, because we didn't know, like, what Mr. Smith was. I honestly assume, because I think some of you guys told me that even though it's not fully explained, it's implied that Sarah Jane got her sonic lipstick from the Doctor, which does make sense. So, yeah, that does make sense that she would get the sonic lipstick from the Doctor. So I guess I just kind of assumed that she also got Mr. Smith from the Doctor. And I just kind of assumed it. I didn't give it like a second thought or anything. I was just like, oh, well, she probably got it from the Doctor, because that makes sense. But no, the fact that Mr. Smith is a crystal, a Xyloc, one of the Xyloc, and he just happened to be the one that wasn't, stuck beneath the Earth's crust, because that's where all the Xyloc are. They're underneath the Earth's crust. So Mr. Smith was the only one that was basically free. And then, he just so happened to find Sarah Jane, and that gave him the tools he needed to start his plan. Now, through this, I would say it's a bit convenient for him. Like, okay, he went out and he was able to contact the Slitheen, and you would think that he would be able to contact anyone in the galaxy in order to get this telekinetic device made, this headset made. But he did specifically go for the Slitheen. But finding a mind powerful enough for the headset, that did kind of like fall into his lap basically with Luke, like, because he was with Sarah Jane. Sarah Jane created him into this computer, so it's like, so that just sort of happened, and then it's like, well, what was he planning on doing anyway? Like, how was he going to find someone mentally strong enough to use this headset the way he wants it? So that's the only thing where it's like, okay, what was his plan B? Like, has he been planning this since then, or I don't know what's happening. I don't know, like, when did his plan come into motion, basically? That's kind of what I want to know. But yeah, great twist that it was Mr. Smith, and also I guess we sort of had a hint at it when Clyde was trying to do something and Mr. Smith zapped him, but I just completely forgot about that. So yeah, but yeah, I guess that's sort of the hint, but still, it's a twist. It's a good twist too. So yeah. I wrote down Clyde, specifically him hacking into Alan's laptop in order to talk to him. Like, that was really clever. It's amazing that he figured out how to do that, because that's not something I would think about. And honestly, that's not something Mr. Smith thought about either, because, when Mr. Smith realized what Clyde was doing, he was like, oh, well, I didn't predict that. That's a bit unpredictable, but very clever, very good. So I did like that he figured that out. So it made Clyde a bit more useful. So yeah. I wrote down the moon, and I will always keep saying that every time there's a shot of the moon. So yeah. So that was interesting too, because I kind of just thought that, he would use Luke to just use his telekinetic power and just destroy the Earth. But it wasn't just that. It wasn't just that. It was that he specifically used Luke to pull the moon closer to the Earth and destroy it. Like, that was interesting. And then I love, because, it's sort of a tradition with, seasoned bad guys that there's some sort of fight, And, now generally there's not a fight between the Doctor and the Daleks or the Cybermen or something like that. But something does happen in the climax, the final boss, basically. That's a thing. But you couldn't really do that with Mr. Smith. But they found a way. I like that I like that Sarah Jane brought in K9 at the last second. And I had forgotten about K9, but here he is. Like, as soon as she backs up into that safe, I was like, safe, what's in there? I was like, K9 is in there. I was like, oh my gosh, it's about to be an amazing, goofy fight. And sure enough, K9 versus Mr. Smith. That was really cool. And, obviously it didn't last too long, and it's not like you can do choreography with this tin dog and a computer, but it was still cool. We got a little back and forth with the lasers until Sarah Jane uploaded the computer virus, which was also interesting because I guess it never occurred to me, like, I never knew what Alan, like, did for a living, but it's kind of interesting that that's also how he brings in his expertise. So that's really cool. And then I do kind of, I don't know, it's like I like and I slightly don't like that Mr. Smith has now been basically rebooted, and he's and he has a new purpose of saving the Earth. It's kind of one of those where it's like, oh man, well, we were about to have, a show without Mr. Smith. Like, well, that would have been interesting, but at the same time, it's like, well, this kind of keeps everything good. Now Mr. Smith is all good again. And they still beat him, and they still beat the evil side of him. So, yeah, like, all the evil that was in him has been totally erased. So, it still works. It still works. But, yeah, that was pretty much it. That's all I wrote for this episode. Really love this episode. Really love this show. This show's been pretty great. And, yeah, this is, what is this, series 1 of 5? So, whoo boy, we've got stuff to do. The email popped up on my screen. Never mind. So yeah, I'm excited to get to series 2, but we're gonna have to wait 3 weeks for Doctor Who and Torchwood. So yeah, but we will be back for Sarah Jane, which is great because I love this show, and I'm excited to see where we're going. I hope we get rid of the mother though. God, what a bitch. That's just, she was too much. But, yeah, that is pretty much that. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time on Doctor Who. See you guys next week. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Sarah Jane Adventures reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.